Body horror. There are so many movies that people could name body horror just on a specific scene in a movie, or if it's littered across the screen. Typically, body horror is about the destruction of the body, degradation of the body, transforming the body, metamorphosis, and anything that has to do with flesh. But I got a couple of movies that I think you should check out, and I could go so much deeper, so let's get into it. What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. My name is Alex, and today I would love to wish you a wonderful Voidtober, everybody. Thank you. But yes, Voidtober, you're probably like, what the hell is that? Well, it's our celebration around here called Voidtober. You get it. But Voidtober is our way of celebrating Halloween Beyond the Void style. And I'm going to be doing a lot of different things that I wouldn't normally do on this channel that are going to be kind of interesting, hopefully, and also fun. I'm going to invite on some people that you may or may not know, and you should know. And we might be doing a couple of video podcasts here, as well as some live streams. But I hope you'll join us all month long. Happy Halloween. But anyway, let's get on with the show. We have 5 body horror movies that you're going to want to see. First up, we got Society. Society is definitely a body horror movie because there is so many things that happen in this movie that are insane, and it all involves a lot of bodies. So what is Society all about anyway? Well, Society is about a young boy, or he looks like he's mid-20s. He's a teenage boy, though, in the 80s, of course, because this movie came out in 1989. He discovers that his family is part of some sort of gruesome orgy cult for the social elite. Who knew that everybody that was in this group would stick together so much? Anyway, if you've seen the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. Basically, this movie is sort of like comedy and sort of practical effects, sometimes funny, sometimes ridiculous, insanely bizarre. There's actually some real atmosphere in this movie in the beginning, really just kind of throws you for a loop because of what you see by the end of the movie. Effects in this are amazing, and they are done by Screaming Mad George, who is a Japanese man who Brian Yuzna worked with, and Screaming Mad George became friends with him and worked on many other films with him since. There are people with butt heads, goose lips, all kinds of weird, ooey, gooey things going on in this insane story about how the rich are out to get you. And if you haven't seen this movie, you totally should. It's actually up on Screenbox now if you got a subscription.
You're gonna make a wonderful contribution to society.
Up next, we have Titan, which is a movie that is from France by the director who did Raw. Her name is Julia Ducournau, and this movie is unforgettable. You are never going to be the same once you've watched it, because there is just some wild things that happen in this movie. In fact, this movie gets to a start right off the bat. It kicks off so fast that you're going to be like, whoa, why are we slowing down? But then it dips into the weird, like really weird, and also kind of sentimental in some ways. There's a lot of messaging, obviously, in here, metaphors. It's super fast paced and very violent in the very beginning. There's this girl named Alexia who is on the run from doing some dancing or something like that. She's trying to get out of it or whatever. And there is some really crazy sort of violent things that happen right off the get. And then it kind of winds down a little bit because she's trying to run and hide from the law, and she essentially plays like the lost son of this random guy that she meets. He hasn't found his son for so long that he's just willing to accept it at this point because he doesn't want to grieve anymore. You know, I can't say that everybody's gonna like this movie, but you will never forget it. What happens in this movie is essentially a subplot about a girl who's trying to escape some bad guys, but she falls in love with a car and has sex with it.
Well, we all have to come to our own moral conclusions in life.
Yeah, some things happen in the movie that are some of the most profound body horror specific things that happen to her, and it is just a wild ride. There is definitely some things in this movie about metamorphosis, change, love, relationships, and so much more, but I'll let you dive into that. This is one you shouldn't miss, whether you like it or not. If you'd like to check out Titan, all you have to do is go and get a subscription to Hulu or rent it yourself. It is part of the Disney Hulu bundle too, so if you have those, you can check it out, but check it out. Up next, we got a 1993 film from Australia called Body Melt. And man, this one is a silly, weird movie too. It is definitely not an American film, but it is made to kind of be a little weird and kind of unsettling in a lot of places, but it also has like air of like The Thing and body changing and morphing, almost what seems to be like radioactive behavior from some of the locals. A lot of freaks supposedly, but yeah, there's a lot of weird things in this movie, but there's like a subplot that is about this health medicine that you take to make your body healthy, and what it actually does is turn your body into a bunch of mush and freaky creatures and you die. It's kind of like a play on like what corporations do to you, but essentially the residents of this Pebbles Court in Australia are being used as a test experiment for a new body drug that causes rapid body decomposition, melting the skin, the face, everything, and they end up dying in painful death. It's by director Philip Brophy, who this was his first film, and this is the only thing he's really ever done since. This movie goes all over the place though. There's a lot of different characters and a lot of different situations, whether you're in the corporation, out in the wilderness, or just some random dude, and it kind of spirals out of control. And you really get to see some pretty wild practical effects of melty people in this one that I think would be a body horrific treat for just about anyone. But if you haven't seen this, this one is definitely on the weirder side and definitely not for those who are not into movies that break reality a little bit. It's fun though. But yeah, it's up on Shudder and AMC Plus if you want to check it out.
The first phase is hallucinogenic. The second phase is glandular. Third phase is
Up next, we got Anti-Birth, which is a movie that I actually got to interview the director for when it came out. His name is Danny Perez, and he really hasn't done all that much. He has worked on a couple of TV shows or pilots and things like that, but man, did he have like a crazy film that he put out here. Anti-Birth came out in 2016, and we got some pretty big stars in this movie for an indie film, and a guy's first project. Natasha Lyonne is in it. You got Chloe Sevigny and Meg Tilly in this movie. There's some pretty big names in here, and for a movie that is just a wackadoo crazy film. So what is this movie all about? Well, it's in a desolate community that's basically Canada, full of drug-addled Marines and rumors of kidnapping. We got a wild-eyed stoner played by Natasha Lyonne. She goes to a party and wakes up with symptoms of a strange illness, causes her body to fall apart, and also make her pregnant very fast. As she's kind of going through what happened that night and getting flashbacks, a lot of crazy things start appearing before her. Physical, weird, body horror. And that's when all the conspiracies come in. She meets a couple of friends, things get even more out of shape. There's a scene in here with a foot that was so gnarly, dude, that I was just like, whoa, God. This movie does not shy away from the gory, gross body horror that there is, and it ends in a pretty wild body horror situation, and it is just all around weird. These are some weird films I'm picking for you guys, so I hope you like weird. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. It's kind of an underrated gem that a lot of people didn't get to see. You know, it's an acquired taste for some. It's not going to please everybody. This is, you know, a movie that is made for a specific type of audience, and almost kind of like a film that was just made for the director, but it's just so weird I couldn't not mention it on this list. If you can find a copy of this, get it. It's actually pretty fun. If you'd like to check out Anti-Birth, it's actually up on just the AMC Plus service, not Shudder. It's just on AMC Plus, or you can rent it. Check it out.
Look at me.
Up next, we have Hatching, a movie that I've not gotten on Blu-ray just yet, but I will eventually. It is a movie that was one of my top favorite films for the year of 2022 or 23, I can't recall, but a lot of people really didn't watch it or really connect with it in some way. And honestly, I thought it was really amazing. It is specifically very body horror in this movie, and it gets progressively worse and worse and worse. It all centers around this picture perfect family where it's a mom and a father and two children, a boy and a girl, and the girl who has been pushed to the limit on being perfect. And a bird comes crashing through the window into their living room one day while she's practicing, and she tries to save it, and she wraps it in a cloth and hands it to her mom, and her mom says, the little girl feels really horrified by this and learns kind of a lesson about life and how tragic it is. So she goes out into the middle of the woods to find out where the bird was because it might have had eggs. And sure enough, she goes out and finds an egg in the middle of the forest, and she grabs it, takes it home, keeps it warm, and what emerges out of that egg will shock everybody. It is insane. This movie has a lot of really gross, kind of nasty stuff going on in here, and the whole dichotomy between the picture perfect family, which is anything but, and this little girl and this weird situation that's occurring is really awesome. It kind of bounces off each other a whole lot, but I really enjoyed it. And if you like body horror, there is going to be plenty on offer here for you. If you'd like to watch Hatching, all you got to do is have a Hulu or Hulu Disney account, and you can watch it. It's actually up, and I would highly recommend checking it out if you haven't already. Now, these are just a few of the very many different body horror movies that you can watch for yourself today. I would highly recommend starting out with these. And if you'd like something a little deeper, a little more riskier, a little bit more weird, can you get any more weird?
But wait, there's more.
I will be glad to give you more of a list. So stay tuned to the channel. If you enjoyed this list and you'd like to see more, sound off in the comment section of a list that you'd like to see, and maybe I'll put one together for you and shout your name out. Thanks for coming by, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Happy Halloween, happy Voidtober, and as always, long live the Void.